Alrighty, excellent. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. We are cooking up an Indian feast today, so I hope you enjoy it. You're really welcome to watch, or if you are cooking along with me, you're really welcome just to cook a couple of the recipes as we go, whichever you want. Okay, so we are going to start now. All the recipes we're doing today are on Do, and I have actually downloaded them onto my machine. Okay, so and they will. All the recipes are actually in the. No. Someone's just missed. Thank you, Julie. Absolutely not rude. Someone just asked if it's okay to start drinking wine now, and that's completely fine. It's definitely 1 o'clock somewhere. All right. I would be drinking wine with you right now, but I might not make coherent sense by the end of it. So we'll keep going right to the end. Okay. So let's start with the parathas. Yeah. Okay. Having the same issue. Oh, we're having some issues logging in, guys. Hang on 2 seconds. Just a minute. Just double check. I'm having the same issue. Haven't received anything. Haven't. Okay, hang on 2 seconds. Sorry, guys. I'm just going to send a little message to meeting. So hopefully you guys all, well, you did obviously, but hopefully you found the instructions all okay. It is a little bit, if you're not used to it, it is a little bit hard to, you've got to scroll down to see the messages. So there we go. Good. There we go. Sorry, guys. Done. Back. Okay, sorry about that, guys. All right, so I'm back. So I just had someone having a bit of issues getting in, so that's all good. Righty-o, so without further ado, let's start with our parathas. They are beautiful. So they're quite similar to naan bread. I don't know if you've made naan bread before, but they're quite similar to the naan bread. But there's not much, so it actually asks for wholemeal flour in this recipe. I'm actually just using my baker's flour. I just use the baker's flour in this particular recipe. So, but if you were traditionally, you wanted to use it, the wholemeal flour is awesome. All right. So I'm just putting in a teaspoon of the ground cardamom. Just sprinkle that around and say next. Okay. Oh, I grabbed my garlic. Oh, I got my garlic in here. Okay. So this is my peeled garlic. So awesome. So I did do a video on how to peel garlic on bulk. So if you there we go. Awesome. It says 1, I'll put in 2. So yeah, I use a lot of garlic in our cooking. Yeah, so peeling garlic took 10 seconds to do that lot of garlic. It's amazing. All right, there we go. I'll grab my so I'm just going to top and tail the chili, okay, and cut it into halves lengthwise. Okay. I love the green chili. It's actually probably my favourite chili. I just find it's a little bit milder than the red chili. Now I'm going to wash my hands super quickly. So those people who are cooking at home, make sure you wash your hands at this point because we do not want to get, so while it's doing 5 seconds, you do not want to get chili hands, chili eye. All right, I'm just going to let that chop 5 seconds. Perfect. So yeah, one of the worst things I've done is chopped up my, there we go, look at that. Isn't that awesome? How quickly that chopped up. Okay. I'm just going to scrape down the sides a little bit and then add in the flour. Just yeah. So tear off, and as I add in the flour, it'll actually weigh it for me, which is awesome. So you haven't got to worry about pre-weighing things before you start to cook. The Thermomix will do everything for you. All right. So Now, when I'm using dough, I actually will put in a little bit more than what it says. The reason for that, it just means that it comes out of your bowl so much cleaner. So it's asking for 500. I'm going to put in about 520. There we go, 526. There we go. Yeah, the reason that I do that, it just means that when you actually come to tipping it out of the bowl, it's just really, you'll see it really comes out neatly. Now, it does ask in this recipe for 50 grams of ghee, so it's a clarified butter. I actually haven't made ghee, but I do have softened butter. So if you're at home and you don't have ghee, feel free to use butter. If it's slightly hard still, like it's just come straight out of the fridge, what I would suggest is just when it comes to the next step, actually, when it actually comes to cutting, there we are, when it comes to actually mincing it all together, middling it all together, there we go. You might want to actually let it go mix for a little bit longer if your butter's hard, okay? All right. Pop this in and say next. Oh, sorry, there we go. Put in our olive oil. Now, if you guys have any questions during this, please don't feel free to unmute and ask them as you go. All I ask is that you remember to mute yourself afterwards as well. Okay, so I'm really happy to answer any questions, so feel free to unmute and ask questions. I'd love to hear from you. All you hear is my voice the whole time. Because if you're wondering, if you have a question and you're wondering, there's probably someone else on here also that's asking, thinking the same question. So feel free to unmute and ask. All right, I'm going to put in some salt. Oh, and some hot water. So I'm going to add in some hot water. This is from my kettle, 200 grams. There we go. So it asks for hot water. If you haven't got your water heated up, just quickly put the kettle on and give it a boil, and turn it off just before it's boiling. All right. So just watch yourself when you're putting the water in. Just make sure that you're quite accurate with your water, because that's when it can run away with you. And measuring. There we go. Water, put a lid on. Okay, so if you have chosen to use cold butter out of the fridge, it says 10 seconds at this point. It's just going to mix it all around. But if you use cold butter, maybe give it 20 seconds. Just a little. And as it's going, you can tap on it and increase the time as well. So have a look through the lid. You can give it a helping hand. And you can stop it at any time as well. All right, so I'll just show you what mine looks like. Because what you want it to do is you kind of want it to look like cauliflower at the end. Can you see that? Yeah, so that's the consistency of your dough that I want you to get to. So if it doesn't quite look like that, you might want to just let it go for a little bit longer, or perhaps add in, either if it's sloppier, put in some more flour, or if it's too dry, add in a little bit more. Okay, so it just depends. Like if you mix up your, we're going to take the lid off and we're going to knead it. Love this. I was quite, when I first got my Thermomix, I was quite skeptical of how well the Thermomix would knead. Oh, it's amazing. It is such a fantastic picture of Thermomix. All right. Now, if you have a Thermomat, can you grab that out for me now? So this is your Thermomat. All right. I'll pop that down there. So what I'm going to do is actually tip it out onto the Thermomat in a second when it's done. All right. So grab your Thermomats. So the Thermomats are actually host rewards. So if you don't have a Thermomat and you really want one, you can buy them in the mix shop. You can actually buy them in the mix shop, and they are $60 for the Thermomats. But as a host reward, you actually get heavily discounted. So you can actually get them for free if you have someone who is interested in a Thermomix. Just, you know what you can do? You can just invite them along today. So I've got a couple of people who've invited their friends along today, and so they're qualifying for host rewards. So do the same thing. So feel free to invite them along today, whether they have a Thermomix or they are looking at a Thermomix. Feel free to invite them along today and get the host rewards as well. Nice little way. I'd love to have more people. More the merrier. No, I'm really happy to answer any questions they may have. All right, so I'm just sprinkling a little bit of flour onto my Thermomat. You don't have to, but I like it though. It just makes it a little bit less non-stick. Okay. All righty. Yeah. We're going to tip that out in a second. And we're going to roll the dough up into like a nappy type thing. There we go. So next, all right. And I'll show you a little trick when you tip it out. So there's your dough. Okay, so that's what the dough now is.
I talked to you, Sophia.
What's that? Sorry?
One of the ladies was trying to talk to you, but we couldn't hear her.
Oh, really?
That was
yeah.
You know what she was asking at all? Or?
Oh, here she
Can
is.
you hear me?
Oh, Cheryl, is that you? Oh, hello, Cheryl.
Do you always leave the cloth when needed?
What
do you?
You don't. You don't. But actually, generally in a recipe, it tells you to. I actually do, just because I like to watch it. But I don't think it would actually affect the dough. I'm just trying to think why you would, but I always like to look at my dough anyway. It's a bit funny. Okay, so the reason, so I show you, so I added in just a little bit extra flour. And look at my bowl. Isn't that awesome? So that's what adding in that little bit of extra flour does. Now, this is, we don't have yeast in our dough today, but so this is what it should look like, okay? Kind of look like that. So what I'm going to do is just wrap it up like a nappy. There we go. And what the Thermomat does, it will actually, you can feel the heat through the Thermomat. So it'll actually keep that nice and hot while in the Thermomat. So what it'll do, if you've got yeast, so this is just going to rest for half an hour, but if you've got dough and you're wanting to use your Thermomat, it will actually grow, like double in size in about half an hour as well. So we're just going to set this aside. Okay, and that's just going to rest. I will show you, actually, Lala, can I ask you just to push my bowl, please? You did already wash a bowl. And I've dirtied another one. Thank you, Bella. And she loved being teenagers. Thank you, Bella. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a quick trick. Oh, no, wrong one, sorry. Awesome. Okay, so if you are at home and you've got two bowls, swap them over at this point. Otherwise, just take time to give them a little bit of a wash out. Okay. Right, so now we're going to set this aside. I'm just going to show you a little trick for those who haven't seen it. So if you did have dough that had yeast in it and you wanted to rise, what you could do is put boiling water into your thermoserver, stick your aroma over the top of it, and pop your dough into it like that. And what that does, it actually gets the heat up into your aroma, and it will expand. That's a fantastic little tip, like especially in winter time when you can't find that nice warm place. That's a little tip. So at the moment we don't need to worry about that, but I'm just setting it aside. Thing. Okay. Alrighty, so what we're going to do, we're going to jump out of this recipe. I'm just going to push the, so I'm just going to cancel this one, cancel recipe and say yes. All right, because now what we're going to do, we're actually going to start on our cucumber and mint raita, which is so beautiful. So I'm just going to show you. This is our cucumber. And we're going to just cut our cucumber. So you don't need to worry about peeling the cucumber if you don't want to. But what you can do, I'm just going to cut it lengthwise and actually scoop the seeds out so we can, and I'll save those and give them to my chickens. All right, so I'm just going to scoop those out. Here we are, preparation. And we're going to, so you're just going to be left with the outside shell. So then we're going to just, here we are, awesome, going to blitz these up and we're going to set that aside. Done. Okie dokie. So now the recipe in Cookie Do, there we are. It's called Cucumber and Mint Raita. So if you're looking for it, here we go. And we're going to say start cooking. Okay, perfect. Here we go. And we're going to just cut these into thirds. Yeah. Put those in. Apologise for the coughing in the background. My lovely teenager. Again. All right, so we're just popping the lid on. Rightio, so this is going to go for 5 seconds and it's just going to turn around, speed 6. It's going to chop them all. Excellent. Then we're just going to set that aside into a bowl. So if you've got a bowl, we're just going to sprinkle them with salt. So tip them out. Look at that. Isn't that fantastic? How chopped that is. So going to tip this out into a bowl and just sprinkle it with salt. All right. I don't know if anybody has used their Thermomix for making coleslaw, but oh my goodness, seriously, you can, the dicing functionality in the Thermomix is amazing. So if you're making coleslaws, it literally takes 6 seconds to chop up all your coleslaw. So if you haven't made it, oh, and it's amazing. It's so tasty as well. Run it. Oh, it smells beautiful. So fresh. Okay. When you're using your bowls, I'm not sure if you know at all, but so you've got your 2 handles. So when you're tipping things out, so you hold your bowl like that. When you're tipping things out, use your lower handle. And it actually just makes it so much easier to actually tip things out of your bowl. Okay. Okay. Oops. Perfect. I'll just grab. We're going to want to drain our cucumber. Okay, so if you want to grab out your basket, so your basket may have a lid on it if it's the TM6 version. So grab that. And I'm just going to grab a little pirate dish. I'm just going to show you. And what you want to do is set your little dish in there. Okay. And strain it. And this is going to, I'll just turn around so you can see, this is going to help it. So we're just going to set this aside and let this drain for 20 minutes. Okay. Little trick with your spatula, make sure everybody knows. Okay, with your spatula. Okay, and you can sit it like that as well when you're draining things out. So I'm just going to set that aside. Let that drain. Okay, we're going to rinse our bowl. Okay, and then, okay, so then we're going to let come back to it. Okay, so we've done that stage. If you want, I want you to rinse your bowl now. If you're using the same bowl, rinse your same bowl, and we'll come back to this in the next step. Okay, so it's time to rinse that. All right. No teenager required on. Okay. So put that aside. Alrighty. Okay, so we're going to cancel this recipe. If you're on the TM5, you can just push your home button and it'll give you the option to cancel the recipe. The TM6, just hit the little dot, 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 and you can cancel out of that recipe. Okay, and say yes. Okay, how's everyone going? It's cooking along. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, feel free, if I'm going too quickly, please just go, hey, hang on. I'm really happy because I know what I'm doing in my head and I understand that it might just take a little time to catch up. So just let me know. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're actually going to do start the condensed milk. It's such a good recipe. And so if you ever find yourself going to the shops and there's no condensed milk, just make it yourself. No need to get it from the shop. All right, so where is it? So we're just going to start our condensed milk and then we're going to set it aside. So again, it's just called condensed milk. Let me move this out of the way. Get a new bowl. All right. Have people made condensed milk before? Let me have a look and see. Yeah. Oh, no. Yes. No. Yay. Okay. All right. Let's start cooking. Okay. So for this one, we're going to use our butter again. So 40 grams of our butter. I have my knife back in. This is really naughty, this recipe. It's so good. It's so great because you can actually make your condensed milk yourself, and it is so easy to do. Now my butter again is quite soft. Okay, and I've had it out resting. Okay, a little bit more. Over there. Okay, so I'm going to pop in 125 grams of water. Now, just a little tip. Okay, so it's very exciting. I'm excited about condensed milk too. Okay, so I'm actually going to add in 125 grams of water, but what it's going to do is actually take it up to Varoma temperature for us in 3 minutes. So what I'm going to actually do is pop in some already pre-boiled water, so it's already hot. So if you've got your boiled water there, grab that. Okay. It's just like a little shortcut for actually speeding up the whole process. So pop in our boiled pre-boiled water. It's hot. And 125. There we go. Oh, yes, it's already, because it's pre-boiled, it's already starting to melt the butter. I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you that. Mine looks like. There we go. You see, mine's already starting to melt because of the thing. So for those who haven't got boiling water, that's fine. But all I'm going to do, so it's going to go for speed 2 for 3 minutes, but it's not going to need that. Take your lid off and just have a little look through. As soon as the butter is melted, then you can just stop it. It's a bit of a time saver. Yeah, I think that's nearly done. Yeah, so what was that? 25 seconds? A little bit of time saver. So there. So we put our melted butter. Okay, so if you're cooking along at home and you are still waiting, that's fine. Just let it go and it will actually melt butter for you. I'm just going to keep going. All right, we're going to pop in 180 grams of raw sugar. So I don't get huge lumps fall out. Who's ever had that where you're pouring it in and the whole thing falls out? I hope it's not just me. Okay. All right. There we go. 180. There we go. Awesome. Done. Okay, so next. Okay, milk powder. So 110 grams of milk powder.
I love your containers. Where do you get them from?
Oh, aren't they awesome? They're actually from Aldi, believe it or not.
Oh,
So-
well, that's so good in Townsville.
Yeah. Have you got Aldi in Townsville?
No,
Oh. But
I
they
love
are-
the
I'm sure you, I'm just trying to think of the name of them. Someone else asked me about them just yesterday. Oh, I'm so blind. I will find out
That's
for
fine.
you.
Thank
What
you.
the name of them are, and I'll post it. Because someone else asked about them, and they come in a whole variety of sizes.
Yeah.
And got a twist lid lock.
Well,
which
that's
is,
what I like because I've got arthritis, so it's hard to peel lids on and off.
yeah.
You get
Oh,
it in a twist. Yeah.
having the Thermomix with your arthritis, does that really help?
Oh, yeah, that's why I bought it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, I love
Lovely
it.
do popping action.
Yeah.
And,
Now, one pot, love it.
yeah. Awesome. All right, we'll pop our lid on. And next, okay, so it's just going to mix it around 30 seconds. Sorry, I was a bit noisy. So I just had a look on the lid. I don't need to look at the bottom, but they're called Crofton. And I'm pretty sure that you can buy them outside of Aldi, but they're Crofton is the brand. I'm pretty sure they have a website, actually. Let's see. Okay, so scrape down the sides. Yum. Oh, it's already looking, look at that. Oh my goodness. So scrape down the sides. And then transfer into a bowl. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to transfer this into a bowl. So that's done. Oh my goodness. Yum. Okay. So if you've got some jars, grab it. So I've just got a couple of jars that I've sterilised. For those of you who didn't know, you can actually sterilise your jars using your Varoma as well. So for those who didn't know, you just put about 500 grams of water in the bowl, then put your Varoma on top and steam them for about 22 minutes. And you'll sterilise all your jars. It is so easy. So just 22 minutes, temperature Varoma, and probably just speed 1 or 2. All right. Oh, yum. Can you see that? Oh my God. Go. So that's one. And this is the other. Gosh darn, I'm going to be left with extra. What am I going to do? Actually, you know what I might do is make some bliss balls with this afterwards. So using the recipe, I think we're going to be using 250 grams, but for whatever's left over, I might go and make some bliss balls as well. And if you were just making this at home, you could be really naughty and put put some milk into it and make a really lovely. Don't waste any of that. Don't waste any of that yumminess. You can put so I'm just going to set that aside to cool. So yeah, so you can just put some milk into it and turn it into a really Little cheeky treat. All right, I'm just going to put some water into your bowl. So to wash our bowl, just put water into it to cover the blades. Okay, and I'll come back. And put a little bit of detergent. That's it. So just enough to cover the blades. Put that back on. Okay. And we're done with our condensed milk. So what I'm going to do is just set aside to cool. It's not terribly hot, but I'm going to pop it into the fridge. We're done with that one. And I'm just going to put this onto speed 10 for about 5 seconds. Wash our bowl. Done. Okay, so with the TM6, it does come with a pre-clean function, like the cleaning function where it'll actually clean your bowl for you after when you've finished. But in between recipes, I just blast it, give it like speed 10 for about 5 seconds and then wash it out. I'll show you what it looks like. There we go. How good's that? That's just rinsed straight away. And then if you just keep going, you can put it straight to the dishwasher if you were done. But when you're doing high heat cooking, one of the best things, fantastic things, is you can actually put just water enough to cover the blades and then some soap and put it onto the pre-clean mode, and it will just clean itself for you whilst you're making whatever. Like you might be doing sponge sugar, honeycomb, or whatever it might be, or even like just a chicken teriyaki, just that, like, that sticky sweet. Whenever you're doing that, just use your pre-clean mode, and it's fantastic. It'll clean your bowl for you. A machine that washes itself up. Don't you love that? Okay, so now we're going to start with our onion bhajis. Yum. So these can be quite naughty because they are fried in oil, but if you want, you can actually pop them into the oven, which is what I will be doing with mine afterwards.
Could you put them in an air fryer?
What's that, sorry?
Could you put them in an air fryer?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. If I had an air fryer, that's actually on my list of things to get. Just, yes, one of those things. But yeah, if you had an air fryer, absolutely. What a great idea. That's a fantastic idea. Okay. Now, for those people who are cooking at home and you're looking and you've gone Ajwan seed, what is Ajwan seed? It's actually, you know what, you can actually use thyme. So it's very, very similar to it. Where it is thyme. So this is what they look like. I actually got mine at their local fruit grocery store. They have Ajwan seed, believe it or not. I was like, oh, that's what we need. So I don't know if you can see it, but it looks very, very similar to thyme. Okay. And it has that similar flavour as well. So if you don't have Ajwan, you can absolutely replace it with thyme. Okay, so I'm just going to pop in a teaspoon of that. Yeah, it's so like thyme, and smells like thyme. A little bit different, a little bit more aromatic, I think. Yeah, a little bit more aromatic. Okay, cumin seed. One and a half teaspoons. Next, okay, put the lid on. And it's going to go, there we go. So it's actually going to, I love this, actually going to dry roast our seeds. So if you've done Indian cooking before, or haven't done anything before, the Thermomix will actually dry roast your spices for you, which is phenomenal. Normally you would, you pay, goodness, like $5 for the different spice mixes that you might see at the shop. You don't need to do that. it'll actually dry roast for you. So you can see on here, it's just going for 3 minutes at aroma. Very just a slow, it's just on speed 2, and it's just got, at the moment, it's just got the blades on it, so it's doing slight cut, because we will be milling it in a second, but it's actually dry roasting now, which is good. Okay, so I'm just going to take this time just to clean up my space. And if you're watching from home, please do the same. Okay. Now, it will be asking as well, it will be asking for onions. So if you haven't cut your onions as yet, just make sure you just take the time to cut your onions now. One of the awesome things I love about the Thermomix is that when you're inside a recipe, you can actually see what's coming up next. And I love that. So on the TM6, up near the next button, you'll see the little dot, dot, dot. You tap on that, okay, and say recipe detail. And you can then scroll down and see what's coming up next. So you can prepare yourself, and so you're just saving that little extra time instead of waiting for the next step. You go, oh, okay, so we've done all this, we've got a dry roasting happening. Then we're adding in all our other ingredients, apart from the onions, and we're going to mill it for 30 seconds and pop that into a bowl and set it aside. Perfect. So what you could do now is grab your bowl, and if you haven't done your onions, chop up your onions. And I've already chopped up my onions. A fair bit of onions. Obviously, it's onion bhaji, so asking for about 500 grams. So it might, depending on the size of you, like the brown onions, it might be 3 or 4 onions if you haven't done that already. Oh, the smell it coming out, it's gorgeous. Okay, so grab your onions, put that all set. And then recipe detail. On the TM5, it'll be on the window, the little up arrow. So at any time on the TM5, you can actually look at the recipe detail by clicking on that up arrow. Don't know whether most people know about it. It's actually down the bottom in my screen, on the side, but it's on the bottom left, okay? So on the bottom left, little up arrow, you click on that and it'll bring up the recipe detail as well. So it just shows you what we're doing next. Okay. So now we're cooling off. Dun, dun, dun. Here we go. Oh. So they smell amazing. So I'm just going to check. Now we've done that, we've dry roasted. Oh no, we're not going to mill it yet. Okay, we're just going to add in our coriander. Now, if you don't love coriander, you can absolutely skip this step. I mentioned it the other day that some people love coriander and some people absolutely detest coriander. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a quick wash. But yes, so if you don't like coriander, you are very welcome. You are very welcome to skip that step. Okay, so I'm just going to pop in some coriander. I actually like coriander myself. So you can actually pop in all the, I do that, 5 sprigs. I'm actually going to put in the whole thing. I'm actually just going to take the bottom root off, but I'm going to put the whole lot in. Don't be worrying about being too delicate with it. Just pop the whole thing in. Okay. Next. Okay, now chilies. Again, there's our beautiful chili. What do I do with my knife there? There's our chili. So with that chili, I just split it down lengthwise, like that, and then just cut it into halves. You can, if you prefer it, so this will produce a medium flavour. If you don't like it so hot, you can scrape the seeds out and it'll reduce the heat content. Just going to wash my hands. There we go. Okay, and say next. Okay, now we're going to add in our chickpea flour. This is awesome. So if you've got someone who's gluten intolerant, they can absolutely have this recipe as well. It's made on gluten-free flour, which is a really lovely one for guests. If you have people coming over and you want to have an Indian banquet, and they have dietary issues as well. Okay. So put in 160 grams. Yeah. And there we go. A bit more. Done. 160 on the knot. Awesome. Okay, next. Okay, 1 garlic clove. There's our garlic. From my beautiful garlic. And as I said before, 1 means 2.
Are those in olive oil?
Yes,
I
just
remember.
Yeah, so I just keep mine in olive oil, just covered in olive oil, and I keep it in the fridge. Okay, so but I do use mine in like within 7 days, so it will store really well like that in the fridge for 7 days. If you wanted to keep it for longer, like you don't use garlic as much, pop it into the freezer. Pop them in on a tray, like a single layer on a tray, and pop them in the freezer. And then once they're frozen, you can just pop them into a bag in there, and that's fine. And then that will last for months in your freezer. So if you don't use that much garlic, that would be awesome. Actually, Cheryl, I think it was Cheryl who had the. No, it wasn't Cheryl. We had, no, who we had? Someone had the arthritis. I apologise. So that would be such a fantastic way of peeling your garlic. If you have issues with your hands, it is just it does it for you. It is such a time saver.
Yeah, I watched you do it the other night. I just couldn't remember what you put it in.
Yeah. So you did do it?
Oh yeah, I watch most of yours. I love it. I can't cook at the moment. I'm enjoying watching everyone else cook.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay. So Kashmiri chili. Oh my goodness. So if you don't have, again, if you don't have Kashmiri chili in the pantry, just use your normal chili. So this asks for half a teaspoon of Kashmiri. If you don't have Kashmiri and you want to use like chili flakes or your normal chili, I would probably do half of that. So this is half a teaspoon. I do a quarter of normal chili. So Kashmiri chili, you can see the colour of it. Isn't it divine? It's just beautiful. And it's got quite a smoky flavour. Oh, it's a beautiful, really beautiful chili. And it's not too bitey either. So I've got a 10-year-old, and he quite happily will have, like, he'll happily have the Kashmiri chili in it. Then half a teaspoon of baking powder. Yeah. So next, okay, putting in 100 grams of water. Again, I'm just going to use my kettle water. Oh, 98. Okay, 98. Okay, pop the lid on. It's going to go for 30 seconds. There we go. It's going to mix it all up. If you need to, you can extend the time. Right, it's going to give it a helping hand. So I'm just going to stop it. You can hear it free spinning. That's absolutely fine. I'm just going to give it just going to stop it and straight down the side and give it a bit more helping hand. Oh, it smells amazing. Yeah, someone made a comment about banging the top of the Thermomix. Yes, you can. I would be definitely hesitant with banging too hard on the top of your Thermomix bowl because it can affect your scales. If you can get into the habit of tapping on the side, that's a really good way of doing it too. But your gentle tap is fine. All right. A bit more mix. Super loud. Okay. All right, I'll show you what mine looks like. Awesome. So what you want it to look like is a really beautiful paste. Okay, so I'll show you what mine looks like. And if I get it out into a spoon, okay, can you see that? All right. Yeah, so look like you want it to be a lovely paste, thick paste. Right. And say next. Okay, now we're going to pop that into a bowl. So grab a bowl. Again, you can use the bottom handle. There we are. All right. Now, if you guys have got any questions and you don't wish to ask them online, that's really happy. You're really welcome just to message me as well. I'm really happy to answer your questions that you might have. And yeah, just let me know if you are interested as well. And I've got, as I mentioned before, I've got a couple of customers online today who have invited some of their friends to join us so they get the host reward. So if you think you know someone who's interested in purchasing a Thermomix, you are so welcome to invite them along and you'll get the host rewards. Or if they have a Thermomix already and they just want you just think they might like to get the hints and tips, that's awesome as well. Very happy to help. So I've been a consultant for 4 years now, and I still learn something every day. Like I just get blown away by this machine every day. Like it just, you know, what it can do, all the different things that it can do. Okay. So putting that into a bowl. So it's always good to learn extra little hints and tips as you go. All right. Now, I'm just going to show you a little trick. So there's a little bit stuck around on my blades. I'm just going to show you a little trick as well. I'm just going to push my home button. See how it also bookmarks? Can you see that little green mark there? So that actually bookmarks it and actually kind of jumps you back into your recipe. But I'm just going to jump out, turn on my thing to speed 10 for 2 seconds. And what it will do, it'll actually flick anything that was on the blades. I'll actually flick it out onto the bowl. So, you see that? See how it's done that? And it just means that you don't miss anything, any of your goodies. And you can scrape that out and get the most out of your mixture. So you can still, yeah, so I've got quite a bit out of that. All right. There we go. Okay, pop that into a bowl. Now, jump back into our recipe. And one of my favourite things the Thermomix will say is, do not clean mixing bowl. I love that. Okay, so I'm just going to set this over here for a second. Now we're going to add in our onions. So I've actually used the inbuilt scales and measured, but say 3 or 4 onions. Okay, say next, depending on the size of your onion. Put the lid on. So you can see, like that's quite a bit of onion in there. Literally 3 seconds, speed 5, is going to chop it. It's like magic. No more onion eye. Look at that. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that awesome? Okay. What we're going to do, we're going to pop this into the bowl. I might need to get a bigger bowl actually. I'll show you. Right. So if you're cooking along at home, just grab a decent sized bowl. You've got half a kilo of onion, so you just grab a decent sized bowl. Yeah. Now with your Thermomix, the higher the speed that you chop at is the smaller the size of the cut. Oh, I just got onion eye. Gosh, every time. I do that every time. Ah, juicy onions. All right, there we go. There we go. And I'm just going to pop my thing in there. What I say about not getting onion eye? Oh my goodness. I do it every time. Oh my God. I think I get too excited and stick my head over the bowl. All right, so then put your mixture in with your onion. All right, perfect. Or if you had a bigger bowl initially, you could just pop them in together. There we go. Fantastic. All right, so we're going to stir that until well combined. Yes, yes, yes. And then we're going to, throughout the day, if we have a bit of time, we're actually just going to roll these. But what you can do, this is actually just going to go. You're going to fry these off. And this is going to make your bhaji. Oh my goodness. Onion drip. All right, so I'm just going to pop this inside. Come back to this. Let that rest. Awesome. There we go. Done. Okay, so that's our onion bhaji mixture done, and that's going to sit and rest and wait for us. Okay. Yes, that's fine. So when you're ready, so that's now done. So when you're ready to actually have dinner tonight or whenever it might be, you can just put them into little balls, and I'll be doing that during the afternoon. I'll show you how big they are. And you can work in batches. So for actually cooking them in the oil, I'd probably do them in about a 3 or 4 spoonful size, I think, but I'll show you how to do that. I'll show you the size that we're going to do them in. Right, I'm going to tidy up my desk, my workspace. Grab a bowl. If you're cooking along at home, and this is the time, I just want you to clean your bowl. If you only just got the one bowl, clean your bowl at the moment. And we're going to move on to start our coconut and pistachio delight. So yummy. So I'm just going to clean my workspace for 2 seconds. All righty. Tidy that all up. Just show you you see the draining, that's the cucumber raita draining. You got that? Yeah, so that's still going. It's nearly drained. We'll be able to come back to that in a second. Okay. Now this is, oh, it's such a yummy recipe. Oh my goodness. Okay. So we'll come back to our recipe. Coconut and pistachio delight. Yum. Right. Let's go. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. Now, for those who are cooking along at home and want to cook this now, yeah, you can do that. Preheat the oven and cook this now. I might do that. I might actually do that so we can see it. Might be able to see it by the end. So just turn on your oven And you are going to need a baking tray as well. So it does ask for a square baking tray. If you've got one, a spare square baking dish of 23 centimetres. I actually only just got the rectangle one, so that's what I'm going to be using today. There we are. I'll show you mine. Okay. So this is the tray that I'm going to be using, the rectangle one. It does ask for square. So if you have that one, feel free. And I just want you to line it with baking paper as well in preparation. All right. A little trick with baking paper, if you've been using baking paper and you know it springs back all the time, it's so annoying. Best thing you can do is scrunch it up, okay? Then when you straighten it out, it actually molds to your tray and doesn't bounce back. So scrunch your baking paper and then it will be much more malleable what you want it to do. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Right. So now we've got our cardamom. Oh, actually, no. I'm going to use cardamom seed. Sorry. I'm using cardamom. It says cardamom seed, but generally you will find them in the shops as cardamom pods. So they're the same thing, yeah. So I'm going to use my cardamom pods and just 1/4 teaspoon, so only just a couple. Really, I think I've got 5. Yeah, got 5 in there. And say next. Okay, so now we're going to pop in our pistachio nuts, so shelled and non-salted. So 40 grams of those. Yep, and say next. All right, I'm going to pop our lid on. There we go. Our lid on. And it's just going to mill those up for us, chop those up for us. Awesome. Okay, now we're going to pop that into a bowl. Now I'm going to, so have a look at your mixture. Yeah, it just wants it to be roughly chopped. I might give it a little bit longer. So this is mine. I might just put it into another. Now you're in charge. Remember, you're in charge of your cook. So if you think it needs longer, feel free. Okay. So I just did a couple of extra seconds. So yeah, so whenever you're using your Thermomix, don't take what it says as gospel. It's still your preference. So what you want. So if you want something chopped a little bit finer, then just simply put it on for a couple of extra seconds or minutes or whatever it needs to be, and it will. And you can adjust it for your liking. Okay. Yum. And it smells amazing. Actually smells quite sweet. Lovely. Beautiful. Okay. Pop that in the thing. Right. So that it's beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so our semolina. I've just got some Australian semolina. I'm going to use 40 grams of semolina. So if you had someone who was gluten intolerant, you can absolutely swap that out for the gluten-free flour as well. All right, butter. Okay. My butter's getting softer and softer as the day goes on. I'm not sure what the weather is like around Australia at the moment. We're in Brisbane, and it's actually quite warm. It's been like 20, 25, 26 yesterday, which was just crazy for winter. Definitely feels like spring has sprung already. But I know it has been cooler in the lower states. Okay, so now that's going to go for 3 minutes. All right, so whilst that's doing its 3 minutes, I'm just going to pop that over there. Just going to have a look at my dough. I'm going to start to, oh, actually, no, I want to just finish off with the Bhaji quickly. Just mix that in properly. And I'll show you the size that we're going to be cooking the Bhajis at. And then I'll get the dough out in a second. Let it rest for just a little bit longer. Awesome. So this is what you need. You want it to be really well mixed together. And you can see my big onion pieces. Again, like, you're in charge. If you find that that's too large a size of onion, feel free that when you actually come in to make your onion bhaji, feel free to chop your onion at a higher speed, and it will chop. So this was at speed 5, maybe speed 3. No, speed 5. You can either chop it for longer, or you can just increase the speed just slightly, and you'll end up with a smaller chop as well. Okay, so the size that I'm going to be using for frying off my onion bhajis would be, it's about, you can see that, it's about 2 tablespoon sizes. You can have a look in there. Okay, so it's about 2 tablespoons.
Looks like a golf ball.
What's that?
Looks like a golf ball size.
Yeah, probably more like a tennis ball, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Probably, that's a very good analogy. Yes, so probably a tennis ball.
In between.
In between, maybe a eggs. No, in between, somewhere between a golf ball and a tennis ball. Okay. That's a very good visual analogy. A handball or a stress ball. That's probably, thank you, Bella. Okay, all right, so we're going to have a quick look at our recipe and see what we've got coming up next. Right, so we're putting our, that's fine, we're going to add in our, yep, perfect. Now we're going to add in our coconut milk, sugar, and mix. Okay, so I'll get that ready. I've got my eggs there ready to go. If you haven't got, coconut milk and sugar, that's fine. Tap on there, I've got my coconut there. 2 more seconds. Perfect. Oh, lovely. So I'll just show you what it looks like now. Can you see that? Oh, it smells amazing. Ready. Okay. So we're going to pop in, so tear that off. I'm going to pour in my desiccated coconut. Go. Awesome. Coconut. Our full cream milk. I'll just grab that from the fridge. There we go. Tear that off. 250. And I'm sure if you had lactose intolerant people at home, which funnily enough, I do, but my beautiful lactose intolerant family, they love. Yeah, that's right. They are addicted to lactose. So, but I do find that when it's been heated, it doesn't upset their tummies as much. So when I bake with the milk, it doesn't. In our case, doesn't actually affect them. But they are addicted. But if you do have lactose family that are sensitive to milk, you could definitely use almond milk as well. All right. Raw sugar. There we go. So just 50 grams of the raw sugar. Next. All right, put the lid on. So now it's going to go, it's just going to mix it for 10 seconds and then it's going to do it. I'll just put my milk away. Yeah. And so next, I'll show you what it looks like. So it's kind of like a coconutty paste. It's beautiful. Scrape down the sides. So what it's going to do now, touch on there, and then that, okay, pop our measuring cup on. So now it's going to go for 6 minutes, okay? At speed 3, and it's going to heat it to 100 degrees, all right? Perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this opportunity to get our parathas out, and I'm going to start to show you, because what we need to do with the parathas, they actually need to be rolled really, really thin, and then and I'll show you how to roll them and fold them up, and then we'll have to let them sit, ideally let them sit for another hour once they're all rolled. So if you have your parathas, if you're cooking at home, grab your paratha out, and I'll show you how to do that. I'll just clear my space. And have some flour handy as well. Awesome. Just set this slightly. So have some flour handy. Just in case you need to work with the dough, you need to stop the stickiness. So what we're going to do now, when you're working with your Thermomat, you don't use sharp knives on your Thermomat. So one of the best things you can use is actually a spatula. So the reason for that is that there's actually fiberglass inside of that. So if you were to cut your mat, you'd actually open up the fiberglass. So you don't do that. Right. So just cut this. So we're just going to cut our dough into 12 sections. So cut it into quarters and then cut each quarter into thirds. And just unfold them into little balls. Now, if you've got a wet tea towel handy, you can use that. The only reason I say that is during winter, it's actually not such a big deal, actually, but what the wet tea towel will do is actually keep your balls moist. They won't dry out. You don't want them to dry out. Okay. So those I'm just going to dampen a tea towel. damp into tea towel. I'm going to cover over those other ones just to keep it a bit moist, just like that. Okay, so what we want to do with your paratha, okay, so have your flour handy in case you need to use it to dry it out for rolling. Okay. And what you want to do, you want to actually get it to, don't be too worried at this point of keeping the shape as such. You just want to roll it out so it's nice and thin. I want to try that first. Okay. Roll it out nice. Probably to about 1 millimeter, so it's super. So this is going to, parathas are actually quite flaky. Now, what I want you to do, if you are cooking along home, is actually just roll your paratha out. I'm just going to start at the top and roll it back towards me. Do a little roll. Just like that. That's it. Okay. Then once you've got your little roll, just curl the end in opposite directions to each other. Can you see that those that are pulling along at home? Okay, so roll it up, curl your ends so that one goes one way, one goes the other, and then just roll them up like a snail. Right? So it ends up like a little figurette. Hopefully you can see that okay. Is that okay, Rose? Can you see that? Yeah? Yeah, you're all good? Okay, and Kim, can you see that? Yeah? Okay, excellent. All right. Then once you've got your little S, just flip it over the top. So you've got, like, it looks like it looks like, but it, I mean, look, there we go. There we go. So that's what you want it to do. So then set that aside. Now, once we're done, you can do that with all of them. And once you've done that, okay, that's what's going to create flakiness in your paste. Just roll that out. Roll it out. I've got 10 seconds. See if I can do this one quickly. There we go. Excellent. Okay. So once you've got it, okay, then roll from the top. And then just roll down like that. So rolling it down. That's it. Okay. And then turn the ends like that. Okay. And then just roll them up like a little figure S and flip over onto the top. Okay. So we'll do that with all the. So I don't know if you've seen my video on making puff pastry, but it's the way that you handle your pastries and how it turns out. So if you were to pop that and use that straight away, then it would absolutely be fine. But by doing this and then rolling them out, this will actually create the layers in your paratha at the end. Okay. So we'll come back. So when we come back to it, when we have time, we'll come back to that and roll some more. Okay, so back to our delight. Just say next. Okay, so now if you've got the one, now it wants you to set aside the bowl for 20 minutes to allow the mixture to cool inside. So I'll just show you our mixture. That's beautiful. Oh, it smells amazing. Okay, so if you've got a second bowl, now, I'd love you to grab that second bowl. If you don't, just tip that mixture out into a separate bowl and give your current bowl a wash, okay, so we can keep on going. So just, yeah, perfect. So I'm going to set that aside, pull that one off. That's why it's so handy having two bowls. It's not essential, but it's okay. It's also awesome having a teenager to do it. Thank you, Bella. Did you hear that sigh? Oh my God. Oh, bless. Bless. Okay. Thank you, Bella. Oh, okay. Yeah, you had free. Okay. Well, thank my lovely assistant, Bella. She cleaned my bowl for me. But for those playing along at home, yeah, so just tip out the contents and wash your bowl out. And what we'll do now, we're actually going to go back to our cucumber raita. All right. So I'll just move. What I might do is just move this mat for a moment. I'll just move the over here. Back around so you can see. Excellent. Okay, awesome. So now, yeah, we're going to let that side, set that aside to cool. That's fine. Yes, we're going to scrape it. Yes, okay, so when we come back, then we're going to add in the eggs as we go. Yeah, perfect. Add up the eggs. All right, so I'm going to jump out of that recipe again. So cancel. Yes, and we're going to jump back into our cucumber raita. So bring it back up again. My recipes is our cucumber and mint. And what you can do when you bring up your more information, you can see my screen down there. If I turn this around a little bit better, maybe. Okay. When you are scrolling down through your screen, you can actually jump to the location where you were in the recipe. So if we come down, we've allowed our mixture to drain. There we go. Yep, so we've done that. Sprinkle with salt, set it aside. Okay. Rinse and drain our cucumber. So our cucumber has been draining. What I want you to do is just give it a quick rinse, okay, and just let it drain quickly, and then grab some paper towels, and we're going to squidge that up in a paper towel. I'm sure there's more official term than squidge, but that's okay. So I'm just rinsing my cucumber on the tap. Towel, cucumber. Tell you what, if you like doing green smoothies, you can use, look at that cucumber. You pop that into a green drink instead of throwing that away. All right, grab our paper towel. So I've just grabbed some paper towels. I'm just going to tip out cucumber mixture and then just pat it dry. And let it squeeze and give it a squeeze so it takes out the excess. So, Lala, sorry, can you take out the fluffy ear dog? My flappy eared dog. Oh my goodness. Okay, set the cucumber aside. Okay, so now what we're going to do, just let that, so that will actually soak up as much liquid as we want, if we can. We're going to set that aside. Okay, so now we're going to add in our cumin seed. Have I done my cumin seed? And there we go, 1 teaspoon. That's it. And so next, perfect. Oh, so it's going to dry roast it for us as well. Perfect. Awesome. So I'll grab my cucumber. All right, so we're just going to roll out a couple of more of our little guys here. While that's waiting, I'll just roll this out again. See? Okay. Okay. So when you're working with pastry, if you yeah, look, it's just same with the puff pastry. It just makes such a difference the way that you fold it. So with puff pastry, you actually fold it. I'm not sure if you've seen the video or not, but if you're making puff pastry, you actually do a process called laminating, and that involves folding your puff pastry into thirds and then rolling it again and folding it into thirds and rolling it, and that was that creates the flaky layers in your puff pastry. If you didn't do that step, if you've ever attempted to make the puff pastry and you didn't do the laminating, you may be wondering why your pastry doesn't puff. That's why. Okay, so just make sure you actually laminate your layers. So pop some flour on there if you need to. Okay, and when you do your laminating with your puff pastry, and this is what we're doing here. This is exactly what we're doing here. Just going to make it so it's super thin. You have to really get your muscle in behind it. Bashing around. Okay. So fold it up. So just roll it up. Roll it up. That's it. Okay. Do a little S at each end. Roll them together. And fold one on top of each other. Like that. Okay. All right. We'll get through that. Right. Now back to our delight. Okay. I'm going to allow the mixture to cool for 5 minutes. Right. So pop that there. And then we're going to add in our fresh mint. So if you're cooking along at home, oh, that's beautiful. If you're cooking along at home, you know what you can do? It says allow to leave in the bowl, let it cool for 5 minutes. Just take your bowl off and give it a little swish around, and that'll very quickly cool your bowl down. All right. There we go. So you're basically speeding up the process. I'm all about shortcuts. Okay. So once that you've given that a good swish around, pop that back on. Okay. Now we're going to pop our mint inside. Beautiful. Fresh garden mint. Is it right in front of me? Should be. Not have time. Oh, here it is. Hiding under the coriander. Okay, so this is my fresh garden mint. It's only baby mint. Just been growing. There we go. I love the smell of mint. So you can grow all your herbs. Start a little herb garden. It just makes such a you'll be amazed how often you use your own herb, and the homegrown herbs are awesome. The only one that I have challenged growing is coriander. Oh, I would love to know how you grow coriander. I know some people can grow it so well, and they just stick it in the ground and it just shoots up. I don't. I've tried many a time, and it either flourishes and goes straight to seed, or it just doesn't grow at all. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now we're going to grab some natural yogurt. I'll show you what it looks like. So we've got our human seed. Yeah. So all it's done basically. It's just mixed. Wow. The smell is amazing. Okay, we're going to add in our natural yogurt. So just tear off. Remember to tear off between steps if you need to. Once you take the lid off. So adding in our Greek yogurt. Oh. Go. Awesome. A little bit. We're actually going to need the Greek yogurt in the set for another recipe as well. Okay, a teaspoon of lemon juice. It is optional. I do love lemon, so I'm definitely going to be doing it. That is optional. I'm just going to I just make sure that because I'm over the thermomat, just make sure you don't cut through to the thermomat. Okay, teaspoon, it's just a squeeze, obviously, of lemon. But if you wanted to really really work your lemon juice, you can actually use your spatula like that. You can squeeze your lemon juice out so successfully using your spatula. So I only need a teaspoon today, but if you wanted to completely squeeze your lemon, just use your spatula and twist it on the end. It's such a successful way of squeezing out juice if you don't have a juicer, that is. Okay, pop our lid back on. So that's just going to mix it up. Perfect. There we are. Yes. Okay. Teaspoon of salt, if you would like. This is absolutely your own. You don't have to. I do like that little bit of salt. I feel like it brings out the flavour a little bit too. Hint of ground pepper. There we are. Okay. Oh, a bit of more Kashmiri chilli. Oh, yum. My chilli. Yum. If you don't have Kashmiri chili, I really recommend grabbing some. It is just such a beautiful, beautiful flavour. I know if anybody follows skinny mixes, they use Kashmiri a lot in their recipes as well. Okay, now we're going to add in our reserved cucumber. So, just going to. It's just been draining here on my paper towel, so I'm just going to pop in the cucumber. Now, pop our lid on. So this is what it looks like at the moment. That looks pretty. It looks like Christmas. Okay. Next, just going to give that a mix. And then grab a bowl that you can pop your Raita into. And we're very quickly going to tip that out and you'll be done with your Raita. Yay. There we go. Oh. Yum. Okay, so I'm just going to give that a roll mix. Oh, it looks amazing. And scrape down the sides so you don't want to lose any of that beautiful mixture. Okay. Can you see that? So good. And this will store as well. This will store in your fridge for quite a few days. as well. Or if you didn't want to use it and didn't want to use as much, simply split the batch and you can keep it in the freezer. You'll be able to use it again. There we go. Yay. Done. Again, I see how I've got some around on my blades. I'm just going to give it a quick blast. There you go. Give it a quick blast so that I get everything off my blade. Literally 2 seconds, 1 or 2 seconds, just to blast the blades. And that way you don't lose anything. See how it does that? Isn't that awesome? Okay, that way you just get everything out of your bowl and you don't miss any of the yummy goodness. Okay. All right, done. So I'm not sure if you can see, but oh gee, it looks lovely. It's actually got, I'm not sure if you can see in there or not. It's actually got a like a little bit of a heat to it. It smells amazing because of the Kashmiri chili. All right, that's going straight to the fridge. Just give me a moment to finish that off now, and then we're going to come back and we're going to finish our delight, and then we're going to do our curry. Yay! Finish off with our curry. So I'm going to pop that in the fridge. There we go. Rightio. So now we'll come back to our delight. So that's been sitting and resting just while we finished up the Raita. So let's come back and let me just give that a quick wash. Where's my helping hand? Thank you, Bella. Okay, so we come back to our delight. So when you're looking at the recipe detail, just scroll down and you can see where we were. So we set it aside. And there we go. Okay, perfect. There we go. I think that was allow. Okay, the mixture involved for 20 minutes. Right. Okay. Use a spatula, scrape the similar mixture from the bottom of the bowl. Perfect. So the bottom of your bowl is perfectly shaped to match the spatula, okay? So your spatula, when you scrape it around like that, will work perfectly for the bowl. So make sure when you're actually using your spatula, pop it, if you can get into the habit of looking for the high blade and putting your spatula in behind the high blade, which is the blunt side, and just scraping it around like that, that's going to save your spatula as well. Oh yeah, that's amazing. There we go. Excellent. That's releasing some of the heat out of it as well. I'll just show you what that looks like. That's beautiful. You see how it's kind of turned into like a paste in there? Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So now we're going to add in our eggs. So what I would recommend, grab your eggs out and we're going to do them one at a time. Okay. Just going to grab a little bowl. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to add, so it's going to go and it says turn your speed select to speed 3. Okay, and meanwhile follow the next step. So I'll just show you what the next step will be. It says add 4 eggs one at a time through the hole in the mixing bowl lid until all eggs are incorporated. So there's no actual time set as such. It just depends on how long it takes you to crack your eggs and put them in. So pop them into speed 3. Oh, sorry, I got distracted by my TV. Sorry. A safety feature, just saying, if you turn your Thermomix on without the lid, it won't work. I love that. I love that. Okay, so turn it on to speed 3. Take your measuring cup off and just pop your egg, keeping an eye, and just pop your egg through the lid. And wait until they're all incorporated. Beautiful. And then when it's done, stop it. All right. Pop out of here. 20 seconds. It's just going to give it a little bit more of a mix. Grab your tray. And next, okay. Oh, we're going to add in our condensed milk. Yay! Okay. So I'll show you what the next looks like. Yum! Yum! Okay. So we're going to grab our condensed milk. Oh, okay. So now we're going to add in 250 grams of our homemade condensed milk. All right. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Can you see that? Oh my goodness. Awesome. I think we're going to use all our mixture. Oh gosh, nothing left over for my bliss balls. Hey Belle, could you grab the other jar? Oh no, Tina just got the headphones on, so she can't hear me. I'll just grab them. Oh, just need to double check what I'm up to. Yeah. Oh no, it's got enough in there. Perfect. I'll grab my cream. Okay. So add in 100 grams of whipped cream. I told you it was a bit of a naughty recipe. So good. Oh, my cream is so thick. So 100 grams of our, there we go. Excellent. Pop that in there. Pop that to the side. Next. Okay, add in our pistachio mix. So this is where we milled our pistachios beforehand. Pop that in. Oh, it looks so pretty. I'll show you. Can you see that? Look at that. Yum. Next. So now it's going to mix it all together for us. Pop your lid on. Just speed 3. Mix it all together, and then grab your tray. I'm going to mix it all together. Keep an eye on it. Like if you think it needs longer, feel free to tap and keep going, and you can extend the time if you need to. That's great. Actually, you know what I might do? I might just scrape on the sides and just put it on for another couple of seconds. Because it just had a little bit of the pistachio nut on the side. So I'm just going to give it a quick mix. Done. Okay. So remember that you are always as I said before, you're always in control. So if you need to extend the time of something, you can absolutely do that. Oh my goodness me, this looks amazing. And then what we're going to do, we're just going to sprinkle the slivered almonds on top. So there we go. All that goodness out. Pop it in there. Yum. There was a little bit solid down the bottom, but I just mixed it in, and it will mix into your mixture as well when it's cooking. Yum. I'm just going to give it a little mix around just to mix up the thicker part. Okay. And then we've got our slivered almond. Gorgeous. Just the 2 tablespoons. Just going to pop that. Chop just like that. You see that? Oh, better. Sorry. Grab the chicken for me. All right. So can you see that? Yay! So this is what it's ended up with, like that. And say next. Now it's going to bake for 30 to 35 minutes. Okay, until golden brown. So I'm going to pop mine in. So mine, I've got a bit of a slower oven. So mine's definitely going to be 35 minutes. The chicken done. Okay. Okay, cut into it perfect. And then when you're done, you just cut them up into the 2 centimetre slices. Yeah, perfect. Done. Right now, I'm keeping an eye on the time. I know we have only got a couple of minutes left. We've got just over 15 minutes to go, and that's perfect timing for our finishing off with our curry. Okay. No. So I've got a lovely assistant, my beautiful assistant. I forgot to cut up the chicken. And she's going to cut up my chicken thighs. But if you haven't done that already, if you're cooking along at home and you haven't done that already, I should have prepped it. I'm so naughty. Just cut up your chicken thighs into probably 2 to 3 centimetre cubes. Okay. So what we're going to want to do now, so this recipe is so tasty. It's actually it's got a bit of a lemony flavour to it, which is absolutely delicious. So it's called chicken in yogurt. Okay, come up. I'm going to start cooking. Yeah, it does have a bit of a yeah, a little bit of lemony flavour to it. And I'm actually going to squeeze a bit more lemon into it as well. It's so beautiful. All right. And that's going completely off grid. Doesn't tell you to do that, but I'm going to do that. It's so amazing. All right. So I'm using coconut oil. So this is actually MCT coconut oil. I'm putting in 20 grams of that. There we go. Or 23 as the case may be. Okay. And start cooking. There we go. Then pop the lid. So what it's going to do is actually going to heat our coconut oil. Going to do that. Pop that there. Get that going. And because we can, we're going to just have a look and see what's coming the next part of the recipe so we can prepare ourselves. Okay, so come up here, recipe details. Pop that down. Okay, so you've got you've got curry leaves, an onion, chili, fresh coriander. Now I don't have curry leaves, but that's okay. And that's one of the things that I noticed during COVID, and my heart goes out to anybody in Victoria in lockdown. And yeah, so sending all my regards to you guys, especially. The one thing I found that when we were in lockdown was it really made me aware that you don't have to have all the ingredients ready to go. So if you've got things in your pantry, like a recipe asks for, so for example, our recipe asks for the wine spice. If you don't have that, and you don't have the wine spice, just look for an alternate. Okay, so look for an alternate, and if you don't have it, then you can have a look up, and in that particular case, it's time. So have a look in your pantry, see what you already got, and you might find that you've got something in there already. Okay. So I don't have my curry leaves, and that's okay. If you do, pop them in now. Okay. What you could do if you did is actually use your curry spice. So if you've got curry spice, feel free to use that. I'm going to put in 150 grams of the onion cut into quarters. Okay. I love these mats. They're just so versatile. They're just such a handy investment. So if you do a lot of cooking, I recommend grabbing some just little cutting mats. That means you don't get slowed down. You don't have to keep washing your mats all the time. Your cutting boards all the time. Okay. These chilies, I'm just topping and tailing the chili. Again, slicing them down the centre and cutting them in half and popping them in. So top and tail, up down the centre, in half, and pop them in. Oh, sorry. Here's my dog.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
This is about the dog. Oh my goodness. Nearly done.
Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm doing coriander. Okay. So this is the coriander. All right, so we're going to pop in our root. So we've got our coriander, our root, and our leaf. We're going to stick the whole lot in. Go. Don't you love it when you have the dog's bark? It's awesome. Okay. Awesome. Okay, next. So it's going to go for 3 seconds. Just chop those all up. And this is going to go straight to my chicken. Okay, straight down the sides of your bowl. I'll show you what it looks like inside. Now, no, you don't want to get onion eye. Don't stick your head over the top like I always do. There you go. How good is that? All right, this time I'm keeping my head away. So now, all right, we're going to let that go for 5 minutes. Then I'm just going to prepare what we've got coming. I'm conscious of time, guys. I don't want to go over time for you guys. So now we're going to add in our chicken, ginger paste, garlic paste, cumin. Okay, so what we're going to do, if you don't have ginger paste, just use ginger. Just slice up your ginger. So I've just sliced up some ginger. I'm going to pop that straight in. Don't need to have your ginger paste. I'll just use straight ginger. Same with your garlic. Again, you don't need garlic paste. Just grab your garlic and stick that straight in. So we're going to use that as well. Grab your. Now, if you haven't cut your chicken up, now is an awesome time to do that one. You've got time to do that. Okay. Then we're going to put in our cumin, a ground coriander, garam masala, turmeric, salt. Okay. And we've got and tomato paste. So now you can make your own tomato paste using your Thermomix. I'm not sure if you guys knew that. There is an awesome recipe to make your own tomato paste, and it just saves so much money. Yeah, it's amazing how much money that you can save using it. So that's making our own tomato paste and yogurt, and then we're done. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes to go. If you can hang in there, I'm really happy. I'll show you the end of my thing. And at this moment, if you've got any questions, feel free to unmute yourselves. We've got 5 more minutes, and then we're going to be done. I'll show you the slice is still a little bit longer. We're half an hour on the slice. I will post the results of all my photos as well at the end, so you can see all my cook-along. And I'd love to see if you've been cooking along. I would love to see your photos. Right.
Do you roll out those things again?
Yeah, I can absolutely do that. I'll show you that.
Do you cook them like that, or?
Yeah, so what you do, I'll show you. Actually, I'll show you so I've shown you the rolling up like a little snail, but I'll show you what you do when it comes to, so there's your snail. So it's rolled up like that, okay? Then grab your rolling pin and give it another roll. So ideally what you want to do is let these sit for about an hour before you roll them out again, but I'll show you. But just roll them out, squish them down. You can put a bit of flour over them as well. But if you have time, ideally you can let them sit for about an hour. Roll that down. And this is what is going to create the flaky pastry. See the layers that it's creating? And you can still, when you come to rolling them out, yeah, can you see that? I'll just hold it up. Can you see the actual layers that it's creating in there? Okay, so when you actually roll that out, when you come to fry these off, or put them in the oven, however you want to do them, I actually will fry these off in the oven, and I'll fry them off. It says with ghee, I just use butter. Pop them into the frying pan with some butter. So when you roll them out a second time, you want them probably to be about 2 mil, so not particularly thick as well. And when you're ready, so that's what you want to do. So what I'm going to do is actually put them on a plate. I'm going to keep a damp towel on them. I'll grab it. Right. So this, even though, you can actually see, can you see the little layers still there? Okay, so when they go into your fry pan, that's actually what's going to create the layers as well. And it's really beautiful, flaky. It's like, it is like a puff pastry kind of, but it's so beautiful. And you can also put a bit of butter, spread butter on the top of them, and that's like super naughty, but it's really, really fun. So grab your.
I was just going to ask, Bhaji.
Yes, right. How are you?
What's it like to cook them in the oven for how long and how many spoonfuls? Just as a guide, please.
With the budgies, or
yes, budgies.
The budgies. Yeah. Yes. So I would put them in. So I think we've decided to be like a handball size. I'd pop them into the oven on a tray, on a baking paper on the tray, and handball size. And I would do it probably about, depending on your oven, probably about 200. I would suggest, and keep an eye on them. Like if you were to fry them, it's only going to take about 3 to 4 minutes. But you've got to fry them in about a litre of oil to do that. And the oil's got to be super hot. So you bring your oil to temperature, and then test it by dropping in a little bit of pastry into it first, a little bit of budgie. When that's sizzling, you know it's right to put your budgie into. I'm going to be doing mine in the oven, but I'm going to probably do it in about 15 minutes, I suggest. But keep an eye on them, and you'll see it brown off, and that's probably a good indication as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay. Good question. Good question. All right. Beautiful. So now I'm going to add in my chicken. There we go. Look at that. So that's just cooked that with that onion down perfectly. All right. Slide that straight down our sides. Tap the side there. And my wonderful assistant, Bella. I should bring her in front of the camera and everyone can see her. She'll probably say no. It's okay. But she has cut the chicken up for me perfectly. There we go. So add in, so tear off our recipe. There we go. Pop in our chicken. Beautiful. There we go. So next, pop in our ginger. There we go. Again, I've just got the ginger slices. I'm going to go straight in. Next, pop in our garlic. So it asks for 10 grams of garlic. There we go. There. Pop in about, so it's about 2 or 3 cloves. Next, pop in our, where are we? There we are. 2 teaspoons. Beautiful. Done. Done. Oh, brown coriander. 2 2 teaspoons of the coriander. Now we're nearly done. I'll just show you what it looked like before I put it on to cook. Oh, it looks amazing. Okay, oh, the garam masala, sorry. There we go. 1 tablespoon of garam masala. And say next. And our turmeric, you'll see, where's my turmeric? You can see how much I use turmeric by the size of my container. So it just says half a teaspoon, so don't go too crazy with the turmeric. A little goes a long way. All right, our salt. Oh, thank you, Danny. And my beautiful husband, on cue, has arrived with a wine. Thank you, Daddy. All right, I'm going to pop the lid on for that and say next. It's going to go for 3 minutes, just stirring it all up. I'll show you what this recipe detail. I'm going to just show you and it's done. So 3 minutes. It then wants us to add in our tomato paste, okay? And then we're going to go for 50, and the yogurt, and then it's going to go for 15 minutes. And you're done. It's like, yay! So we're done of 2 minutes over time. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you. We've done a lot today. So we did our parathas and our cucumber and mint raita, done condensed milk, and then we turned that into our coconut and pistachio delight, the onion bhaji, and then we finished off our beautiful curry. So thank you, everyone. It was a mammoth
Thank
along
you.
joining me, and I look forward to seeing those who cooked along. Kim, I want to see Rose. I want to see your photos, please.
I won't be eating it, remember. I'm making it for the family.
Thank you so much. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Milk. Yeah, gosh, my heart goes out to you guys. And thank you, love you, thank you. So thank you, everybody, for joining me. And I'll see you next Saturday. If you've got any questions, please let me know. I would love to help. And I'll be organising the question for those who've invited some guests as well. So I'll be in contact with you. So thank you, guys. See you, and I'll see you next Saturday. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the fun. See you. Bye.
Bye.
See you.
Bye.